14 out of 25 players in France's national team were blacks during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. There are players of African origin in Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, and England national teams. The Swiss player who even scored against Cameroon was born and raised in Cameroon. Africa is a continent of mass displacement and migration caused by poverty and violent conflict. Irregular migration in and out of Africa has received extensive attention in recent years. The Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, has pointed out France as the cause of migrants from Africa trying to reach Europe via the Mediterranean Sea. We have a link to the video on France's contemporary colonial activities in Africa in the description below. So in today's video, we will quickly go through the 13 African countries with the highest net migration rate in 2022. The net migration rate is the difference between the immigration and emigration rates in a country during a given time frame, usually a year. A positive net migration rate means that more people are moving into an area than are leaving it, and a negative net migration rate means that more people are moving out of an area than are moving into it. The net migration rate, just like many other population statistics, is most often reported per 1,000 residents over a period of 1 year and using an estimated mid-year population. Let's start. 13. The Central African Republic. The Central African Republic is a landlocked country surrounded by Chad, Sudan, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of the Congo, and Cameroon. It remains a transit route for many migrants around the region and a host to several refugees fleeing from persecution from neighboring countries. The Central African Republic has a population of 5 million people. Lately, there has been an increase in the number of labor migrants arriving in the Central African Republic. Immigrants in the country are mainly coming from Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Chad, and France. These migrants have mostly a low level of education and come into the country for unskilled professional reasons. The Central African Republic's net migration rate was at the level of 12 migrants per thousand of the population in 2020, down from 12.5 migrants per thousand of the population the previous year. In 2022, the net migration rate for the Central African Republic is -3 migrants per thousand of the population. This means that the number of people who leave the Central African Republic to settle permanently in another country is more than the number of people who move into the country in order to settle there as permanent residents. 12. Rwanda. Rwanda is surrounded by Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is one of Africa's most densely populated countries, with a population of about 12 million people. Employment in the industrial and service sectors, as well as gender education, are some of the main drivers for migration in Rwanda. As of the 1st of January 2022, the population of Rwanda was estimated to be 13.7 million people. The country's net migration rate in 2022 is -3.2 per thousand of the population. 11. Mali. Mali's population in 2022 is estimated to be 21 million, compared to the population of 20 million the year before. Mali's population is projected to increase and reach 22 million by the beginning of 2023. In 2020, the net migration rate for Mali was 9.2 migrants per thousand of the population. The net migration rate of Mali fell gradually from 31.2 migrants per thousand in 1971 to -3 per thousand of the population in 2022. If you're enjoying this video, then give it a like, share it, and subscribe to our channel to join the community of touristers here on the New Tourist channel. Also, turn on notifications to get alerts when we upload new videos. 10. Benin. Most of Benin's population lives on the southern coastline on the Bight of Benin, which is part of the Gulf of Guinea. It has a total population of 13 million people. The capital Porto Novo is located on the Gulf of Guinea, with a population of more than 265,000 people. Although it is the capital, most activities associated with the capital city actually happen in Cotonou. Cotonou is the largest city with a population of 685,000 people. According to research, Benin's population will continue to grow throughout the rest of the century. At 13.3 million people in 2022, Benin's net migration rate is 0.2 per thousand. 9. Seychelles. The population of Seychelles as of the 1st of January 2022 was estimated to be 99,000 people. Seychelles' population is projected to increase and reach over 100,000 by the beginning of 2023. For many years, Seychelles has relied upon foreign migrant workers. Between 2006 and 2016, the number of migrant workers increased from 4,000 to 15,000, and migrants represented 25% of the country's labor force in 2015. The majority of migrant workers are employed in the construction sector, followed by the tourism and manufacturing sectors. At 99,000 people in 2022, Seychelles' net migration rate is 0.9 per thousand inhabitants. The country's population is also projected to surpass 200,000 people in 2030. 8. Ivory Coast. Since its independence in 1960, when the country enjoyed economic prosperity, Ivory Coast has been hailed as the top migration destination country in West Africa, especially among labor migrants and refugees. As in most parts of Africa, Ivory Coast has experienced rural-urban migration. However, the Ivory Coast remains among the top 10 migration corridors in Western Africa and is host to the highest number of migrants in the region. The Ivory Coast's population is projected to increase by 655,000 people and reach 27 million by the beginning of 2023. If external migration remains at the same level as the previous year, the population will grow due to migration. In 2020, the net migration rate for Ivory Coast was 9.7 migrants per thousand inhabitants. The net migration rate fell gradually from 20 migrants per thousand inhabitants in 1971 to 10 migrants per thousand inhabitants in 2021. In 2022, net migration in Ivory Coast was reported at 1.2 per thousand inhabitants. 7. Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone has a population of over 6.5 million people. The history of migration in Sierra Leone dates back to the 1900s, following the discoveries of precious minerals in the country. There was a massive inflow of foreign nationals, both Africans and non-Africans, seeking to get their hands on these precious minerals. In 2020, the net migration rate for Sierra Leone was 11.3 migrants per thousand inhabitants. The net migration rate of Sierra Leone fell gradually from 28 migrants per thousand inhabitants in 1971 to 2 migrants per thousand inhabitants in 2022. This simply means that the number of people who leave Sierra Leone to settle permanently in another country is less than the number of people who move into the country in order to settle there as permanent residents. 6. Botswana. Botswana has rapidly evolved from a migrant-sending country to a migrant-receiving country. According to research, the net migration rate for Botswana in 2022 is 2.8 migrants per thousand inhabitants. The number of foreigners who move into Botswana to settle as permanent residents is more than the number of people who leave the country to settle permanently in another country. Support our community by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and turning on notifications to stay updated whenever we upload more videos like this one. 5. Gabon. Because of its limited population and booming economy, Gabon relies heavily on laborers from other African nations, including Benin, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Mali, and Senegal. About 200,000 non-Gabonese Africans are believed to be in Gabon, many of them from Equatorial Guinea or Cameroon. In fact, foreigners make up at least 15% of the population in Gabon. In 2022, the net migration rate for Gabon was 3.7 migrants per thousand of the population. The net migration rate of Gabon fell gradually from 20.1 migrants per thousand population in 1971 to 3.7 migrants per thousand population in 2022. 4. Djibouti. Djibouti has unique migration challenges owing to its location at the crossroads linking Europe, Asia, and Africa. It is increasingly becoming a source and transit country for movements across the Gulf of Aden and beyond. Recently, Djibouti has witnessed an increasing flow of migrants and asylum seekers from mainly Somalia and Ethiopia, owing to the critical situation in these countries. As of January 2022, the population of Djibouti was estimated to be more than 1 million people. This is an increase of 1.3% compared to the population of about 993,000 the year before. In 2020, the net migration rate for Djibouti was 6.9 migrants per thousand. The net migration rate of Djibouti fell gradually from 14.7 migrants per thousand in 1971 to 4.6 migrants per thousand in 2022. 3. Burundi. Burundi has one of the highest population densities among the world's poorest countries and has witnessed substantial civil conflicts, which resulted in large migration flows. Agriculture is the backbone of Burundi's economy, and more than 90% of the population depends on it for livelihood. Despite its stretched resources, Burundi is a host to about 80,000 refugees, mostly from the DRC. As of January 2022, the population of Burundi was estimated to be 12.5 million people, compared to the population of 12.1 million the year before. Burundi has a positive net migration rate of 7 migrants per thousand inhabitants in 2022. 2. Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea is an African nation endowed with many natural resources, especially mining and hydropower, which has encouraged migration into the country. It has a population of approximately 1.4 million people on January 2022. The country has a positive net migration rate of 14 migrants per thousand inhabitants in 2022. Equatorial Guinea's population increased by 47,000 between 2021 and 2022. This population is projected to increase to 1.5 million at the beginning of 2023. 1. South Sudan. South Sudan has traditionally been a destination country for people arriving mostly from neighboring countries and West Africa in general, which was also facilitated by the existence of trading and pilgrimage routes. South Sudan is a transit country for migrants from Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia who are trying to reach Europe or Northern Africa. As of January 2022, the population of South Sudan was estimated to be 12 million people. This population is projected to increase by 491,000 people and reach 12.5 million at the beginning of 2023. South Sudan has a positive net migration rate of 21 migrants per thousand inhabitants in 2022, the highest in Africa. International migration probably will increase during the next decade because migration drivers like economic pressures, changing age structures, population growth, rapid urbanization, and environmental stress are likely to persist and intensify. Destination countries that can manage the social and political tension caused by immigration will probably reap economic benefits that outweigh the fiscal costs of new migrants. Africa wants all her children that strayed to Europe and America to return home. What are your thoughts on the net migration rate in Africa? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video.